This is Jonathan Taylor, and I'd like to welcome you to my presentation where today I'm going to discuss several EdTech tools that are sure to engage students specifically in the area of math. Not only am I looking to cover some tools that's going to help out the students, but also I want to discuss some tech tools that are designed to make the lives of our educators just a little easier. One of the tools that I want to talk about for students is going to be Zearn. Now, Zearn is evidence-based and it is a data-backed interactive math platform and is used by more than 1 million middle school students across the country. Zearn is a nonprofit brand and is driven by the belief that every kid is a math kid. The platform is designed for middle school math, but I would suggest that some of the lessons are appropriate for our ninth graders that are just getting started through the school year, maybe have taken the summer away from math, because I just can't imagine any eighth graders who just graduated wanting to do math over the summer. So it's a great way to review some of the rules related to exponents, the order of operations, integers, do some foundational level review, and some of that formative assessment stuff that we've been talking about. Zearn is free to use and it is a nonprofit. So they do accept donations, but again, to use the website and to use the assessments, it's free. So have at it. Another site that I like is called wouldyourathermath.com. Kind of a long title, but here's the premise. It's a math tool, not really in a traditional sense, but what I like about the website is that it creates a simpler way to combine math with other subject areas. In this case, language arts. The websites provide a bunch of would you rather writing prompts that require students to use mathematical principles to guide their responses. And so these principles are not only algebraic or geometric questions, some of them are rooted in financial literacy. So for the upcoming school year, this is definitely a tool that I'm planning to use on Mondays just to break the ice and to get the students thinking. And I think the language arts teachers will appreciate this as well. Another tool that's sort of been a mainstay in the space for mathematics has been Desmos. And as much as I didn't want to talk about it, I just couldn't help to do it because they just continually get better and better with the tools. I use Desmos as a dual resource for both students and teachers. Math concepts are reinforced in a digital environment, so this provides an opportunity for students to interact with these abstract mathematical algebraic concepts and geometric concepts. It finds a way to make them a little more concrete. It provides every kind of calculator a student would need to solve any kind of problem on a platform, which would be any kind of a problem that would be reviewed from middle school ages all the way up through 12th grade. Teachers can create formative assessments. They can administer summative assessments like chapter tests and midterms. You can even create digital versions of paper exams. So this can provide students an option for how they would like to take the assessment, either traditionally on paper or if they would like to do it online. And it will score it as well. Why not? There's a beta 3D version that's available, and it only covers certain content areas of Algebra 1 and geometry. But again, I still think it's good. Desmos is still evolving. Prodigy is a gamification website that provides interactive gaming activities for grades 1 through 8 for math standards, and it also covers grades 1 through 6 for English standards. The program is free for students, and teachers learn about student academic skill sets as the students play. So based on how many answers they're getting wrong, how many times the students get out, it creates all of this formative assessment data on the back end, and it tells the teachers at what grade level the students are performing with specific math content. It's a great tool, again, to collect more formative assessment data. It's going to help guide the teacher on teaching decisions based on the student's needs. Again, as a high school teacher with 9th through 12th graders, this would be something that I would use those first 2 or 3 days to figure out what the students remember and what the students might be struggling with. It helps to create a starting point for where to start the integrated 1 classes. The National Library of Virtual Manipulatives is a website that has all of the steak and hardly any of the sizzle. The site is boring, okay? It's not fun. But as a special ed teacher, its value is prevalent. A lot of my students have IEP goals, and it calls for them to solve problems with the use of manipulatives. Physical manipulatives, they're generally simpler and more cost-effective to attain at the primary grade level, and to some degree even at the middle school level. But with more abstract math at the high school level, those manipulatives are costlier and they're only used for specific sections of the content. So it's not cost effective to spend the money on these more expensive manipulatives. The website provides these manipulatives in an online environment and it allows students to use them as a problem-solving supplement. The tools are appropriate for pre-K through 12th. The only drawback I find with it is that it requires the use of Java plugins, and Chrome browsers no longer support Java. So that might be a bit of a problem. However, my campus, we allow to use for different browsers such as Safari and the new one with Microsoft. And it works well with either one of those. Here's a teacher tool that helps with organization. And while not branded specifically as an educational tech tool, it helps my colleagues and I during those lesson planning processes. And if you're like one of millions of educators like me who pull supplemental materials from many different websites to enhance those lesson plans, and in the process of that can have as many as 8, 10, 15, even 20 tabs open, you'll want to stay tuned for this one. OneTab is an extension for Google Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and Safari. The free extension, it reduces tab clutter and browser memory by up to 95%. So that means it's going to prevent those freezes and those stalls where you need to shut down the browser through the task manager and relaunch it because you just have too many tabs open. The OneTab icon, it'll convert all of your tabs into a list, and then when you need to access those tabs again, you can either restore them individually or you can restore them all at once. Another benefit is that it's going to allow for a better browsing experience, and if your computer is in sleep mode but you left all of your tabs open, it's going to allow for a quicker reboot when you wake the computer up for use again. So it's not going to take as long to load. Again, OneTab, and it's a free add-on, an extension for Google Chrome, Firefox, Edge, and Safari. The final tool that I'm going to discuss here might be met with a little resistance. The educational community has ostracized this particular app service. It's frowned upon by many educators, and I can understand why. However, when utilized appropriately, I think it can be a valuable tool, and I'm going to present a case for it in just a moment. The software, you ask? ChatGPT. I'm sure the eyebrow might have been raised a little bit with this one, so let me just get to my case with this one. First of all, I don't believe that it's a tool that students should be using, especially in the space for academic dishonesty. Okay, so let's just make that clear. But why would I feel like it's cool for a teacher to use it? Well, as I was doing research for this assignment and looking for, for some of the previous programs that I talked about, I would say I stumbled upon this case as a happy accident. It was on a website, as you can see scrolling in the background, the teaching channel, and Donnie Piercy, who is the 2021 Kentucky Teacher of the Year, who's still teaching and loving it, and, wrote a fun book about AI. He went to Antarctica, saw a few penguins. I figure if you're the 2021 Kentucky Teacher of the Year, you're probably doing something the right way and working within the space of integrity. He posted on X this hashtag ChatGPT is bonkers. I copied and pasted last week's parent email, copied upcoming events from our school calendar, and copied the standards we're teaching this week. I asked it to, quote, write this week's parent email, and it did it in 10 seconds. Now, I'm sure he had to go in and do some revisions based off of, his prompts were very specific, so he probably didn't have to do too many revisions. Looking at his class load that he's teaching, I would assume that this is a teacher that's teaching primary grades because he has a lot of subjects that are in there, and he's probably not getting the best of prep periods. I know that at the high school level where I am, and we are at an understaffed district, I'm typically period subbing for my prep periods a couple times a week. So if I'm going to do communications with parents and my prep time is reduced, and I still want to reach out to parents and keep them abreast of what's going on campus, if I can get this letter done in 10 minutes, 15 minutes with revisions, 7 minutes with revisions, as opposed to, as we see the size of the letter that he has here, this looks like this is something that can easily take 25 minutes to a half hour to get done. I think that it is a better use of time to use the tool. Outside of ChatGPT, there are so many other softwares out there that are now implementing different facets of AI. AudioPen, voice to text tool. Even in Canva, there's Magic Write, which is one of their newest offerings that they've recently made available, and they were discussing it in their big conference not too long ago. The bottom line is that AI is not going anywhere. It's going to become more ingrained in the technical world, digital world. Our students are going to be exposed to it. And I think there are going to be some good uses for it, and there are going to be some not so good uses for it, just like anything else on the internet. One of the things that I've done with my students is that I've just had very frank discussions about it and have talked about why it's important, talked about how they should not be using it and what the consequences and penalties for that would be if they're caught doing it. I hope that I didn't just give a whole bunch of softwares and go through a whole bunch of tech tools that you've heard probably 100 different times in here. I feel like if I was able to communicate one or two of them that maybe you hadn't heard of, that maybe I might have hit a home run with this one. But I enjoyed doing this project, and until next time, this is Jonathan Taylor signing off.